Welcome to Bid on You, the podcast, where we help you navigate the chaos of life and experience the bliss of backing yourself. Hosted by yours truly, Marissa Lee. It's time to bid on you. So let's start the show.
Maybe it's a perspective shift. But yes, journaling, that'll do it. I'm trying to get back really into my journal bag. Sometimes it takes so much out of you when you know you have to like dump, which is probably why you need to consistently do it. So every day is not like a stroke. Okay, so then what are some other ways that you practice self-care?
I have like a pretty regimented morning routine.
Okay, let's hear it. Or the parts you feel comfortable for the girlies to adopt.
I teach at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday.
The way it was a natural escape out of my throat.
She goes,
I was listening to you and then it just came out against my will.
she's like, never.
Anyway, yes, 7 a.m.
So I get up at 5. Well, I set my alarm at 5. This is where I'm maybe not so good, but I snooze it.
Be
till
serious.
About 5:15.
I was about to say, not 5:15.
Snooze it to 5:15, but I know that I'm going to do it. That's why I set it for 5.
Yeah.
I'm very
to give you
aware.
that extra moment.
Yep. So I snooze to about 5:15.
I'm screaming.
And then the first thing I do is I wake up and I usually always have water by my bed. So I always drink a glass of water right when I wake up. Healthy, but also it like kind of starts to wake me up.
Okay.
And then I read. I used to try to read at night, but it was almost like too much. Like I felt like I was like couldn't wind down, and I'm trying to read.
Your
this
brain's
book
too
and,
active.
it's too active. I can't focus.
Yeah.
I absorb nothing. So I just started to do it in the morning, and I really only read like maybe a page or two.
Okay. What are you reading?
Right now I'm reading Atomic Habits.
Okay.
But before that, highly recommend It Takes What It Takes. It was like a life-changing book.
Ooh. Okay, put that on my list.
Highly recommend. But yeah, and so realistically, it probably takes me months to read one book.
Yeah.
Right? But I kind of gave myself the permission that like I don't have to read chapters upon chapters to be a reader. I just got to read a page a day. Like,
I like that. Just got to read it. Just hashtag do it.
Hashtag do it, right? Like I read a page.
I read.
Reader.
Would you look at that?
Like, duh.
It's the word.
Right. So then after I do that, I write. I started really small, and sometimes I still only do it small because 5 a.m.'s pretty early.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I always have.
My finger's like,
Yeah, I'm like, I can't say much.
It's the most I can get out.
Right. So I have like 2 books that I write in. One is like a preset, almost like the 5-minute journal.
Okay.
But it's like a different one that a client actually gifted to me. But
Okay.
it's very,
Is it the
very
gratitude
similar.
guy?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Is it that? Actually,
Or
I
like
don't know.
daily habit one or
Yeah,
whatever.
kind of. It's like you have to write. The first thing is like, you know, how you're feeling this morning.
Yeah.
When you woke
like
up.
the guided ones.
Correct.
Because
Very
I'll
guided.
just be on there like,
Yep. So I started like
Maybe I
that
need to
because
do
I
that.
didn't have it in my habit
Yeah.
regime. So it helped to have that. And then I now have this like Bible of a notebook that I usually write like, you know, 5 things I'm grateful for, 3 affirmations, 3 visuals, 3 neutrals, which
Right.
is directly connected to that book. It Takes What It Takes. Like
Okay.
neutrals just help you kind of stay present, stay grounded. And
What would
not-
be a neutral example?
it could almost be anything, but my neutrals are right now is fundamentals, fight, freedom. Fundamentals, fight, freedom.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, those 3 words, and they could be sentences. They could be, I just choose words because if I have a sentence, I'll go off on a tangent.
for sure.
right?
Be a
I just
paragraph.
need something to bring me back to the present so that I'm not thinking about the moment that happened.
Right.
And I'm not thinking about the moment that's ahead. I'm thinking about right now and what I can do.
So it's like a little mantra. Like it's like,
Yeah.
these are the things that ground me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I can focus on the next step I take, but not
Right.
necessarily focusing on the future of what it is.
Okay. So then you decide right now I'm going to get to my fundamentals, which is like my core, or I'm going to fight, or I'm going to.
Right.
That's how you choose your launching pad. Love that. So you obviously chose fight today to come shoot this episode
Yes.
of how to fight back in
Yes.
life.
Especially 'cause I'm a little late.
Obviously. we had to. We had to
We had a
fight.
whole thing.
I had to get to the fundament. I had to do all of them to get into this. Okay, great. Love that. So then journaling, having a routine, sort of sticking to it. And I feel like there is power in that alone, just doing something that is for you, that you
Yes.
are consistent in.
Yes.
I remember when I was trying to learn like okay, how can you like trust yourself in like bigger things, whatever? And it's like, I always say this verse, like faithful in small things, you'll be faithful in the large ones, but genuinely just keeping teeny tiny promises to yourself. So to your point, I think that's great, because I think especially with the New Year's resolutions of it all, since that's our theme this month, people jump out and they're like, I'm going to work out 22 times a week. I'm going to read 15 books the first day.
Right.
And it's like, and then you don't do that, and then you feel like a failure, and then
like
you're
you failed.
teaching your brain, well, girl, why would I try to even set us up to do that when you didn't do it the last time or the time before that?
Right.
So it's those tiny promises that allow you to really build that confidence and that trust in yourself, and then you want more. It doesn't feel like, oh, like I'm falling behind.
Yeah. And I think this, to your point, like the small things lead to the big things. And I think, and I'm guilty of this too. I'll look at the big thing and I'm just only eyes on the big thing, and I got to do the big thing tomorrow.
Hello? Really, tonight by midnight.
But truly, like actually the moment I decided I wanted to do it, I'm going to have it.
I'm
No one hit me up in the
Cinderella.
next hour. Like, what?
Do not disturb. Thank you.
But the little things, and this is where, you know, this book, Atomic Habits, has also been really helpful. But I mean, anything I can really lock in to say is that this morning routine is where it started for me.
Okay.
Because yes, it was little promises I kept to myself. And I found that the more I stayed consistent in it, the less I was chasing my day. And
Oof.
I was just living my day because I had already taken care of me.
Okay.
Now I can keep taking care of me in every
Right.
other step that I take, but also if anything comes my way,
Yeah.
my foundation is set. You know, my tripod on my feet is set. My posture is set.
You're in here reading me for filth in my own home. Like, I'm going to need to get my routine together. I feel like that's probably also why I felt so off lately, because I feel like a big start for me in the day was like praying and like listening to worship music and just sort of like reading my devotionals, etc. And so then through recent blows, I've been struggling and angry with God in a way. And it's really knocked me off my swivel, because it's like that's such my routine and that's my foundation. And then I feel like, well, I don't want to go to that foundation right now, which makes me feel even more uneasy because I'm not on my foundation.
Right.
Spooky.
If I had to say anything, because I'll get off of it too,
Yeah.
because I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have so many things going on.
Yeah.
I want to sleep in longer. I
Right.
didn't make my bed, you know, and
Yeah.
like I ran out, and like it still happens.
Yeah.
I think cut yourself some slack. You know what I mean? Because life happens. And also know, and this is to me too, some of those things may stop working. And like everything is subject to change.
And that's what I hate.
Yeah. Because you're going to change, right? You're
hate
change. You're going to need different things, but the core of who you are will still remain that you're going to need something, you know,
Yeah.
to help you.
And it's okay if that looks different over time.
It's okay if that looks different, even if the outcome is the exact same, you know what I mean? But it's like, I read this thing that my friend Jade posted, and I'm going to butcher it word for word, but like the sentiment was like, you know, if there is change, like you just learn to stand differently. But the root is you're still standing.
Oh, that's true. I had to get that into my spirit for that moment. We need to stay on you. We're pivoting. We're going to pivot back.
We're gonna
So with that, since that's a little on the heavier side, how do you do things that just like incorporate joy into your life? Like obviously we're talking about fighting, but I do think a big part of being able to fight is being rested. Like I feel like if you're fighting from an exhausted place and everything is like, then there's no fight in you. You're running on E. So of course, like we talked about dancing and it not having to be like at this level of perfection. And now you said, you know, you still do it for fun, but what can that look like for someone who wants to like maybe still have a like be structured, but obviously not feel like just living life as a job?
Right.
Just things that you love into your life in a casual way.
I think I take the pressure off. One, I think I incorporate it when I want to incorporate it. Like I used to think like, oh man, I gotta make sure I do this and this and this because all I do is work. And
Exactly.
there are times
I need it.
I'm like, I need the money, you know,
Right.
like, and then that does happen. But I think I also was like very realistic with myself on like what joy and fun looks like to me. Joy and fun. Like I'm a very outward person, but I am 1000% like I will stay home,
Okay.
cuddle up,
Yeah.
be alone. And that is a lot of times where I'm happiest.
That's so true.
So that for
Me
me
and
is
this
fun.
couch.
Me and my bed.
Yeah, those are the joy spots. Just feeling like you get the recharge.
Yeah.
I feel like that's joy. As you get older, getting older, joy is like not going out and drinking. It's like putting on some socks.
Joy
with
is
grips.
like putting on a face mask
Hello,
and like, you know.
Love Island and some chicken wings. Like, ooh, that sounds. I'm ready to do that after this.
Exactly.
Me getting happy. And then, what would you say is something else? So in your routine, I know you talk about this a lot, so I'm going to lead you to it for the people. But positive speaking, positive affirmations. I think something you even said with just telling yourself that you were okay, and we were saying sort of willing it to be. But outside of that, going a step further, have you noticed sort of the tongue being what shapes your life?
1000%.
And then what has that looked like for you?
Oh my gosh. I am the queen of negative talk. Queen.
Same.
Since and this could be dance. I'm sure you get it, right? I used to literally say, "Lo, you're such a bitch." Like don't be a bitch.
Screaming, yeah.
Literally. Like or if I messed up on something, I would be the first person to tear myself down.
For sure. Damn, what's not clicking? Like, hello?
Yeah, and I would literally be so mean about it. If I messed up even a little bit on stage, I was like, I'm the worst dancer ever. Why does anyone even put me in these positions?
Yeah.
I'm always gonna fail. Like
Going off the deep end.
And if I'm being really real, I still have that in me. So to counter it, I didn't make this up.
Yeah, you're like, I'll share it with you though.
I learned that if you say your name, it sort of takes you out of you. So if I were to say, Marissa, if you were to come to me with something and you're like, I just feel like I'm not doing this or I'm not.
Yeah.
Or even in some of the advice I've said to you today, right?
For sure.
Well, Marissa, what if you just change the way you stand?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm saying your name and I'm also treating you with care. When you say your own name, for example, I say, Lo, you got this. I'm naturally already going to treat myself with care because just the little switch of me saying my name changes the perspective of how I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
And without even realizing it, it starts to repair some of the language that you're saying, or you can at least catch it because, I still fall into it, right? And it used to be that I would just adjust. Like if I said something, like even down to like, I wouldn't even let myself like, oh, you're so stupid. If I hit a curb, which happens a lot. LOL. The curbs are just, they are high. Los Angeles needs to look at the level of those curbs.
Pete Buttigieg, I say this must be. Where is he? He's supposed to be over transportation, and I have not seen him.
No.
Since the other election 4 years ago.
We need to talk about the curb height.
Call us, Pete. You could be on the show. We're getting on you to get these roads
fixed.
The curbs are a danger.
They come out and they attack our tires.
Whoa!
Exactly.
I'm mind my business. Here come a curb.
Exactly. I'm trying to park, and for whatever reason, the curb came in faster.
I'm turning, and the curb done picked me up for no reason. My right tire. In the
My
air.
right tire.
Everybody, you just be like.
Then you're that person.
And it's just like you can't see him now, but you'll definitely never see him again. You're so ashamed. I'm driving the rest of the way 5 miles per hour.
Yep, I'm going real slow. I promise I know how to do this.
Hate that for us. I don't even know. Yeah, so you hit the curb and you're like,
yeah, I'll be like, Lo, you're so stupid. And I'll be like, no, you're silly. That was silly.
Girl.
Yeah, like it's so cheesy, but I would say stuff like that. And then I started really incorporating.
I
Yeah.
feel like having fun. I'm so silly.
Yeah, and then I naturally, because I say that, I would laugh, and then my mood would just change from being like annoyed at myself to like almost thinking myself as silly, and it's like okay, and also it completely like diffuses the situation. Whereas like I would hit a curb and be like the fuck,
No,
and
sure.
it would be from that to being like oh oops, lol, so it diffuses the situation.
Yeah.
So and then it just graduated into me just like every morning I say. Every morning in the mirror, I go, Lo, you got this. Every morning.
I really think when I'm saying the name, I see your angle of it changes the way that your output, but the input to me,
Inside joke.
changes my attentiveness. Like if I hear my name, there's something about that that's just because I think in church, like the other month, he talked about it's not necessarily your voice. And people say all the time, like, what does that voice sound like when it's tearing you down?
And in my mind, like when you have an active imagination, there's so much that it's not like how people go about their day and they don't like think in words. I'm like, like anyway, that's neither here nor there. Sounds fun. Seems like it's like
We love that.
birds are chirping, and I'm just like, all the time. But through that, it's like that comes from a coach or a family member or whoever who first critiqued you that way, and
Right.
that's really what you hear.
Right.
And so it's not your voice. And I think when you can like remove that, I think that was half of the pressure for me, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm so broken because I'm so broken because I'm so broken, like, and I'm doing
Right.
this to myself. It was more so like that was never a voice that was even related
Mine,
to me.
yeah.
I just took that in, so I could put that right on back out.
Right.
So instead of saying like you're this and you're that and you're this, if I'm saying my name, also the other side of that, to me, a big thing that helped me early days was how they say picture your younger self. I would never, ever, ever, ever look at 5-year-old Marissa and be like, Marissa, he would never like you. Be serious.
Right. You would never.
Or like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's so mean.
That's
Spirit.
mean.
I wanted to nuck if I was Buck. Just that. So it's like trying to remember that for yourself. And I think, especially because life requires us, I'm going to transition, to fight so much.
Mm-hmm.
It is so exhausting. I'm in a place where literally going to see Color Purple tonight. That's why I keep saying all my life I had to fight. But truly, it requires so much fight. And so I think something that my nervous system does is it tries to prepare for any possible, which is what you do with boxing. Like, what is my opponent going to do? You know, how do I like slip and roll and all of that to make sure that I'm prepared for that offense and be on the defense. But I think sometimes it's like, I'm just going to keep going with my analogy.
You got it.
Would essentially be like if every day I was living as if the bag was going to hit me back.
Yeah.
It could swing. You know what I mean? I could lose my footing. Sure, maybe. But then my therapist was like, you're putting your body through something because your brain can't tell the difference. Like Maya Waller was saying, your brain doesn't know the difference between sarcasm and reality. So you're putting your nervous system through something that may never happen. It does happen. You're putting it through it twice, but just weakening your immune system.
Legitimately, yes.
And it's like, I know, Brain, you're so sweet. Just how I had to rephrase it and not be like, I'm crazy. She's trying her best to make sure that no matter what happens, I can fight back and I can be prepared.
Right.
But right now, like, we don't have to do that.
Right.
Like, we can do it when it comes, if it comes.
Right.
But that still feels unsafe to me. Like, that doesn't feel like I'll be prepared for the train.
I mean, it's tough because I do get where you're at, because I think on a lot of levels, I think maybe also because my mom passed, I sort of never want to be caught blindsided. So I have a habit, and I think maybe I didn't even realize that I do this a little less now, but I think about the worst case scenario always, never the best.
That's where I live.
Always the worst, because I never want to be caught blindsided ever again.
If the other shoe drops, I will be there to catch it.
Yes.
Like, you won't get me slipping.
But here's the thing. It may still happen anyways, right? And it may still, like, you learn. I think you can still prep tools.
Okay.
But I think the tools are to, kind of bring this even in a circle. Like, the tools are you. The tools are your foundation. The tools are the things that make you feel good, make you feel strong, make you feel like, I, haven't fought yet, but I'm going to. I don't know what that's going to look like. I have no idea, right? All I can do is prepare as best I can based on me, where I'm at, not where they're at, based on me. And to give like a small example, like recently I sparred people I didn't know, right? And instead of going in with my game plan, I just responded to theirs. So instead of me doing the things I know how to do, that I practice, I chose to only react to their game plan.
Okay.
So my point is like, am I still going to get hit? Yes, even if I go with my game plan. But which one is going to get me through the woods, really? Which one is going to get me on the other side to where I know I did everything I could? Right. It's me going through my game plan, no matter what. So even though other things, now to take it out of boxing, even though there are things that will happen no matter what we do, we can't prep no matter what we do, but we can be ready to do it.
So what is the difference? We can't prep no matter what we do, but we can be ready for it.
I think if you try to live in the situation, and I think if you try to think about the loss or the bad thing will happen. like, I think thoughts become things. I really do.
$1 trillion.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Love affection.
I think that they become things, and I think from the perspective of like the worst case scenario, I think you're almost like preparing yourself to fail in the worst case scenario. You're rather than surprising yourself with how well you deal with the worst case scenario, because you've already put the tools together.
So essentially, does that look like living in the best case scenario mindset so that when bad comes, I still have that mindset I can access?
I think it's about like understanding the options of what for sure can happen, right? Like I'm not great with finances, but like you never walk into like a high pressure financial situation without knowing, kind of like all the ins and outs and the highs and the lows. But anyone I imagine that is wealthy isn't just living in the lows, right? They're almost in that like medium tier. They're not in bliss, in ignorance that can happen, right? But at the same time, they can't just be like only prepping for that, because that puts you again back in full circle. That puts you in survival mode, right? That makes you reckless. That makes you like build the plane while it's flying. I can't take that. That was Justin Goldmines.
Also could be Boeing, because we saw that plane just shout out Alaska Airlines.
crushing it. But you know what I mean? Like one of them puts you in survival mode, which is reckless. One of them puts you in like just untouchable mode where you don't know. Ignorance is bliss. So that medium ground, maybe to really like bring it home. I'm kind of like working through this as we're talking, but like to be in that medium ground where you're just sort of like putting your tools together, but leaving yourself open for
which ones you'll have to use.
Yeah. And because even like defensively in boxing, like those who are the best defensively, they're relaxed.
Yeah, that's true. And you won't at all times have to like jab, slip, roll, like all at the same time. You're not like a video game character.
Yeah, typically like less. Typically less is more.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just gotta fight or balance.
Yeah, or
that's
just
literally me in life. I'm an NPC, just waiting, seeing what's gonna happen, just being a good sim. Literally, oh, you're doing so well. The shoulder. They're always like, I'm like, why are they so good? So is that how you fight back in life?
I think now, yes. I think now I think the best way I could say I fight back is that I stay less attached to the outcome of what, and I'm not perfect at it, but less attached to the outcome, good or bad. Mm-hmm. And I stay focused on the things within my control, which is me. My mind, my body, the things that I own, the things I came into this earth with. Okay. My mind, my body, my heart. Yeah. I mean, those are things that you own. Your mind, your body, and your heart. Those are all things that you own.
So you fight back with what's within your control.
Yep.
And then how do you feel that boxing has curated that fighter spirit in you? It's about a lot of control.
I mean, I think boxing has pushed the limits and expanded the boundaries of what I even knew. Because I think a lot of times I think a lot of us do this where we're only really focused on 40% of our capacity. And I think boxing, I mean, if you think the reason why my class is nonstop and hard, it's not because I expect everyone to be at 100 the whole time. Right. But if you're moving that entire time and you're doing, how many times have you left being like, oh, I had no idea how I was going to keep going? You just said it today, but you did. And that by itself expanded your threshold, expanded your boundary. So I think for me, boxing helped me learn I am so much stronger mentally than I thought I was. I have the capability and physically than I thought I was.
Spiritually, emotionally, all of it.
And to top that off, even if I'm not, I'm just not yet. Because again, boxing is process. Boxing, you're always learning. You're always adjusting. You're always training. You're always finding new openings, new things, right? You're always sort of like in this place of, I think of this like rolling fireball of just like collecting fire. Like everything is research. Everything is like, okay. Yeah, if you're ever this finished product, like, I don't know what you do.
Retire, like Rocky.
I guess. But even Rocky still lost again.
So he had to
That was
Yes.
his next ring.
Yeah.
They need to call us Michael B.
Michael B.
Well,
Hired.
focus for other reasons. But that made me think, because I wrote this down yesterday in class, you said the championship round, paraphrasing, but the championship round is getting through what you never thought you could.
Yes.
And I was literally on the low because tired, but also just because it gave me, like, this is me telling you as my friend and coach. I was just like, wow, I'm in a situation that I never thought I could get through. So I guess I'm in my championship round.
Yeah.
I'm fighter bouncing it out.
Yeah.
And in closing, we like to ask this question to our guests before they depart. So it's, how are you going to bid on you in this next season of life, 2024, whatever that looks like, since you've been bidding on us with all this sage advice?
Yeah. Okay. I, again, can't own this, but read this.
Lots of reading.
Lots of reading, this girl. She's a reader, 1 page a day.
But hey,
I am really heavily focused on being consistently good and not occasionally great.
so if that is today, I only have 70%. I'm giving 100% of that 70.
Correct.
Period. I love that. I love that. I can hold you to that. That seems like something I could partner with you in. I love that for us.
I hope anyone takes that.
Yeah. Consistently good.
Not
Even
occasionally
if that
great.
doesn't look great.
Yeah.
It's my good enough. Consistently good enough.
Yeah, good is like exactly what you said. Good is in percentages, right?
Yeah.
You might only have 10%, but if you give 100% of the 10%, you the odds are good.
It's giving all I got when I got it.
Yeah. And like,
I like that.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, I'm going to go lay down.
yeah.
And that's me giving all that I have.
And to me, the occasionally great is the sprint till you die, right? You have this big idea, you go do it, you go try to do it, and then you die out. The consistently good part is the morning routine, is the things, is the little things, right? The consistently good leads to the great.
In the podcast as if it's Oprah's going to see it.
Listen,
She might.
she might,
Because I was consistently good.
because you were consistently good.
I'm not a one-hit wonder.
Nope.
That's what they won't be able to say about us. I love that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all can catch Lo if you're in LA and you're lucky every now and blue moon in New York. But tell them where they can come take your class if they'd like. Follow you. Give yourself the plug that you deserve.
Okay. So I teach at Box Union. There are 3 locations in Los Angeles. I teach at the Santa Monica location and the Robertson location. Weho. Whoop, whoop. And then I also teach at Nike Studios.
Period.
Not boxing, just fitness, just do it. And then right now I'm also teaching at Lobos Boxing Club. I also train there, so you can always catch me there dying alongside with you.
Yeah.
And then just to plug it up, Instagram is Laurena22, LAURENA 22. It's going to be down there.
Can't miss it. You can find some fun dancing, some fun fitness, and just some fun.
Just some fun. Like,
I love you. Thank you, my
I love you
angel.
too.
Woo! You did it, Joe. Mwah.